So I have a question for you. Do you remember that fight scene within the third Madoka Magica movie in relationship to Mami and Homura? And do you remember what took place in that fight? Meaning, do you remember the outcome of the fight itself in relationship to who won? Now, have you ever asked yourself how this was possible? Because essentially, we know that in the Madoka series, whenever Homura uses time manipulation magic, her opponents are unable to move, and Genrobuchi even stated in an interview that Madoka was the strongest character within the series in the final timeline, and before that it was essentially Mami. However, he mentioned that Homura was the strongest character when someone didn't know about her ability and how it worked. Now, given what Genrobuchi stated, Mami in this particular fight should have been completely helpless, and at first we thought she was helpless because when Homura frees time, Mami was essentially not able to do anything. However, we know that toward the end of this fight, when Homura canceled out her time magic, Mami was actually able to essentially, the moment that the time magic was canceled, Mami was actually able to utilize her abilities in the form of her ribbons, and she was actually able to defeat Homura. Now, it was never explained in the third movie how this was possible, given what I expressed in relationship to Homura's time magic ability and what Genrobuchi stated. So for the longest time, it was never really made very clear as to how Mami was able to bypass Homura's time magic in a way where she was able to essentially get the jump on her and defeat her in the end. Now, there's actually something that was recently revealed in the Megia Record mobile game in relationship to Homura's origin story, because this game does focus on the roots of Homura Akemi in the idea of how she was able to utilize man-made weapons in the form of guns. And one of the things that we essentially get from this is the fact that in practicing and honing her abilities when it came to using weapons, Homura actually got a lot of assistance from Mami herself. And one of the things that it was revealed within this mobile game is the fact that when Mami would spar with Homura and the idea of helping her to utilize her weapons, they essentially practiced in a way where Mami would attach her ribbons to Homura, and essentially in doing so, she was able to bypass Homura's time magic because she was able to use her ribbons to connect to Homura. And we know within the Madoka series that if somebody is able to attach themselves to Homura in some way, they're unaffected by her time magic. We saw this with Kyoko in episode 9 after Sayaka became a witch, and we also saw this in the third movie when Homura essentially touched Bebe. This is essentially how Mami is actually able to defeat Homura. So yeah, it was essentially a combination of her ability as well as the fact that Mami in the third movie had, spent time learning about Homura's abilities as a fighter, which is very similar to what happens in Megia Record, because the version of Homura in Megia Record that trains with Mami is the Momura version, and it's the less experienced version of Homura, who essentially gets a lot of help from Mami as well as Madoka in relationship to, utilizing her magic and being helped to have more confidence in herself. So yeah, that's basically it. If you ever wanted to know how Mami was able to defeat Homura, then this basically is how it happened. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video. This is Mami Sexual signing out. Peace!